Punk Revolution now. Today we're going to be reviewing A.G. Cook's newest album, 7G. So A.G. Cook, he is probably one of the most important pop producers in the past decade if you're not familiar with him, okay? He's had a huge role in shaping these kind of newish, strange subgenres of pop. Some people call bubblegum bass, some people call PC music, some people sometimes I've heard hyperpop, sometimes it's deconstructed club that gets mixed in there, whatever. These are all relatively new genres that A.G. Cook, being the head of the PC music record label and working with artists like Charli XCX and Hannah Diamond and QT, he's played a huge role in influencing a lot of the new pop coming out lately. So I'm curious to see what his solo album is gonna be like. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start by taking a look at the fucking album cover. This looks like a freaking Microsoft Paint gradient where they just kind of like and clicked it and it was done, very computer generated, not too fancy, pretty simple, you know, just typical A.G. Cook stuff, obviously combining with the 7G album title, you get something that's supposed to be sort of computer futuristic whatever, which is going to, of course, correlate with the electronic music we're about to dive into. So let's talk about the music now. So this is a 2.5-hour album, which frankly made me a little bit nervous to see because with A.G. Cook, I kind of feel like I kind of get his gist already. Like if you give me a song by Charli XCX or whoever, I can just tell immediately if it's produced by A.G. Cook. In my opinion, I was starting to get kind of tired of the PC music trend anyways, just because of how, you know, just samey it all sounded. So 2.5 hours of A.G. Cook is like, I don't know if I can handle that. But to A.G. Cook's credit, he does something really smart here, which is he divides this 2.5-hour album into 7 mini albums, pretty much, okay? Which one is great because that makes it a lot more digestible, so you can just listen to like one at a time. You don't have to listen to the whole thing in one sitting, whatever. I like that. And also, like each mini album, he kind of dedicates to a specific instrument or sound or whatever that he explores. You know, maybe one's going to be primarily piano or guitar or drums focused or vocals or whatever. You know, just pick something. He picks something different, which inherently creates an album that has a little bit more variety to it because he's going to be focusing on these different things throughout the whole album, which is actually probably the album's biggest strength is very wide, huge range in variety of sounds and different textures he's exploring here. Sometimes these songs sound really kind of more percussive and quick and remind me a little bit of like IDM. Sometimes we have songs here that are a little bit more ambient. Some songs here are a little bit more in line with the bubblegum bass you'd expect from A.G. Cook. And I mean, there's also like there's a cover of Today by Smashing Pumpkins in there. One thing that really stands out to me about this album is the fact that these songs just feel a little bit like, kind of like they're demos or just like experimentations that he kind of like went with. And maybe didn't like flesh out. He probably didn't like polish every single little synth to make it crystal clear. Something that actually is, I feel like it has in common with Charli XCX's latest album, How I'm Feeling Now. Also produced mostly by A.G. Cook, so they kind of have that connection there with the bubblegum bass that's like a little bit rough around the edges, which I actually frankly like because it does bring something a little bit new to the genre, a little edge to it. But even though these songs aren't like perfectly polished, perfectly finished, whatever, I gotta give A.G. Cook credit. Like, this is 2.5 hours of pretty damn good music from start to finish. Like, it's like he kind of like goes with an experiment and pretty much like succeeds with every experiment he does, which is like really ambitious and really fucking interesting to listen to. Like, this is just a huge flex from A.G. Cook. Like, yeah, that's right, not only am I one of the most respected producers in the last decade, not only did I get PC music and bubblegum bass going, but I'm also a really talented musician in my own right who can compose great songs and produce great songs that have a wide variety. It's not like he's just regurgitating the same deconstructed club or bubblegum bass formula. No, he's doing all sorts of cool things, and he's pulling it off, and I gotta give credit. That's really ambitious, and it's really impressive, and it makes for a really fascinating listen. And even though I'm not crazy about every single section on this album, okay, I'm not in love with the super sauce section, which to me does kind of dabble a lot in some sounds we've already heard from A.G. Cook. Kind of sounds like unfinished Hannah Diamond instrumentals or something like deconstructed club, deconstructed. I'm not crazy about that. That's really a personal preference though. The reality is overall this is a very impressive and very creative and very ambitious release that I think he pulled off, and I'm very impressed. So this exceeded my expectations for sure. A.G. Cook definitely deserves to be acknowledged as a very talented producer. So I'm giving this an 8.35 out of 10. Probably like my favorite music I've really heard from A.G. Cook. So I don't know, probably one of the best electronic albums I've heard all year. So, Fantasimo stuff, good job, A.G. Cook. You have, even though I've been a skeptic of you sometimes in the past, I gotta give you credit. You really did a great job of yourself. Good job. And thank you for watching, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want a punk revolution. So, get the fuck out of here now. Like a punk revolution now.